everyone, it's JoAnn and I have a video here for you for some odd girl stamps, and I wanted to do a watercolor technique using a clear stamp today. This is the stamp set called Under the Sea May. You can find that at summergirl.com. And I'm just going to use this image right here. So I have her on my block already. I'm going to stamp her using some black StazOn. And the paper that I'm using today is this Tim Holtz Distress Watercolor Cardstock. So I have her down on my cardstock, and she's kind of a little bit uneven, but that's okay by me. And I'm using two sets from Prima. This is the Hair and Skin Tones watercolor pencil set and the basics. I didn't want to make it too complicated, so I'm just going to use those two sets instead of using a bunch of different sets of pencils. So I've got that out. I also have my Prima water brushes, and you can use any water brush, or you can even use a paintbrush, a watercolor paintbrush. So doesn't really matter. And what you just have to do is just pick your skin tone, pick your colors that you want to use, and just color. Now, I have been practicing with these Prima pencils, and they do not look like the color that they are on the end of the pencil, no matter how much I try. So I just kind of use the pencil around the areas I believe that there is shading, and then I bring the color in using the water brush. And I take my thinner tipped one and just kind of bring in the color until I like what I get. You can't really do wrong with watercoloring your images, just because it creates like a little whimsical kind of feeling to them, and people don't expect them to be super perfect like they do with Copic markers, I feel. And I like the way that it looks like almost like artsy-fartsy. I guess that's why they're called watercolor paints. But I also have a set of Inktense pencils, and I like those as well. I'm trying to get it used to my other coloring mediums and not get used to the Copics. And you just kind of bring it all in. So there's that for her skin tone. There you go. And I think she came out really cute. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit more. And then for hair color, I think I'm going to use something different. I'm going to try to use this purple right here. So this is 80. And then I'm just going to shade her hair where I think there's going to be the most shading. Kind of like how you would use with your alcohol markers. And like I said, pencils or even watercolors, they're pretty forgiving, I think. You can just lay down your color and then drag it to where you want it to be. And it ends up turning out really nice. At least that's what I've found when I've practiced. So it may not look like much right now, but when I take my watercolor brush, I'm going to dab my, I didn't have this ready, but I'm going to have a piece of paper towel just to dab the end of my brush so it doesn't get super runny, but I'm just going to drag the color out. You kind of just meet them somewhere in the middle. And it's nice to use stamps that kind of tell you where the shadowing goes sometimes. The other day my daughter was coloring with me, and she was using a paintbrush and one of those cheaper Michael's watercolor sets, and she was having a great time just using her paintbrush and coloring, and she was like, "Oh, yours looks great, Mommy." And I thought that was really nice to spend some time with her and do that. Well, that's her hair. And I found that this dries pretty quickly. I don't have to use my embossing, my heat tool at all for any of these projects. I probably have to make her eyebrow a little purple. Let's see if I can get it without using a pencil, but that's that. And then I think for her fin and tail, I'm going to just use the blue. And then where you want the most shading, you kind of have to color the hardest. Or lay down the most color, I should say. This is, what color is this? 71. And this comes from the primary set. And then this, I just bring the colors again. Forget her little fin. And I think for her top, I'm going to use maybe this green. And this one is 44 from the primary set. For her eyes, the eyes, I'm going to use this darker brown from the Skin and Hair Tone set, if I can get it out. This one is number 101. And I'm just going to color in where I think there's the darkest, and then I'm just going to take my water brush super lightly there you go, and there you have it. That was super easy. So I'm just going to quickly complete a card, and you guys can watch me do that. I'm just going to put it on fast motion, and I will be back when it's finished. So I didn't want to just leave that image, so I wanted to take more of my watercolor markers, or I should say pencils, and create a little scene with them. So I'm taking the earth tones, and I was trying to create like a little cliff or a ledge going into the ocean, and I don't know what I'm doing here with these flickering lines, but I thought that it would just be kind of neat to like have her sitting on rocks. But I guess I could have been more fancy with the rocks, but these are the rocks that you're gonna get. So I took my, I think it was like the darkest brown from that pack, and I took my thicker water brush and just kind of going over all of it with it. And you could see that it did create like a little bit of shadow in some areas. It actually looks like sand to me, and then those rocks in the background like cliffs or something. But I'm not super artistic when it comes to like freehand drawing, but go with me and take a journey with me, and you can see that those are rocks in the distance. And then I'm taking another set, or another pencil from that. Actually, which one is this one? Oh, the spring and fall set. And I'm creating like a little water line in the distance, and I'm using one of like the darker teal colors. And then again, I'm going over it with my water brush. And I really like the way that it came out, because it's like a blue-green, like in Hawaii. And it just came out really nice. And so I was like, oh, you know, now that I'm going here, I might as well create like a sky background. And so I took my primary set, I took the lighter blue, and just kind of went over some patches in the sky. And so the pieces that I left white kind of look like where the clouds would be. And again, I took my water brush and then just went over it really lightly with it. And then it created like this little, like an artsy, artistic background, I think, anyway. And so I was like, you know, this came out really cute. So when I was taking off that washi tape that I had held it down with, it left that flappy piece off. So I took my trimmer and just trimmed it down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I just took off the top and then took off a little bit of the sides so that I can mount it on a A2 size card front, or a card base. And then I thought that the image was perfect enough as it is, so I decided to just use a bit of, I think I was deciding what I was going to use right there. I think I grabbed my twine. I grabbed something. Oh no, I was looking for paper. So I was grabbing my card base, and I had some 4 1/4 by 11 left over. So I just scored it down the middle at 5 1/2. And then I was still deciding what I was going to do to jazz it up a little bit, and I was thinking about what sentiment I was going to use. And I decided to use I believe I used Make a Splash from that same stamp set, and I just stamped it with some stays on. I couldn't decide where I wanted to place that. I was like, make a splash. It should probably be in the water instead of in the rocks, and instead of in the sky. My brain thinks like that sometimes. So I took some twine that I had in my stash. I tied it around the bottom, and then I just kind of tied a little bow. Gave a little bit of texture on the card. And then it was kind of big, so I just taped it down in the back with some Scotch tape. That's my secret weapon, Scotch tape. And then I have this fun foam that I get in like a big pack at Michael's, and I like using it for like dimensional adhesive. It's cheap. One side is sticky, and then the other side I just use a tape runner over it. And I like it especially for like card fronts if you're gonna pop it off the card base, because it covers the bigger area. So that's pretty much my card, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.